What's good, peeps? Self-isolation, day 38, I think. Again, hopefully everyone is doing well. Hopefully everyone is safe. I was listening to LBC 97.3 a few minutes ago, and it reported that there have been nearly 30,000 deaths due to COVID-19. 30,000. Now, I, for some odd reason, thought that was the total number of deaths in Europe, right? That's what I thought listening to it. And then, obviously, I realized that's a total number of deaths in the UK. 30,000 deaths in the UK. That number is only bigger in the US, right? And you look at the size of the US and you look at who's running the US and you can understand why, but that's unbelievable. 30,000 deaths. I just remember hearing about the number of deaths in Spain and Italy just when it sort of became known over here, and you heard those numbers of deaths, and I think it was like 5,000 and 6,000 at a time, and you think, oh my God, like we have to kind of get a hold of this. 30,000 deaths, and that's going to keep rising. I could rant a bit more about it, but this isn't the channel to rant about it. Yeah, that's just incredible. All right, let's talk about Anthony Joshua and Carl Froch. Before we do that, again, I will timestamp everything, so you can just click onto AJ Carl Froch straight away. The timestamp will be in the, what's that bit, description box. Also, the Q&A, I am going to do a part 2, guys. A lot of people sent me emails saying, Ade, you didn't answer my question, even though I think I got something like 400 questions. I think I tried to answer as many as possible. It went over an hour again, but we are going to do a part 2. Today's Tuesday. Might do it tonight. Yeah, might do it tonight or Wednesday. We'll see, but we'll do a part 2. So fingers crossed I can answer all of the questions that were sent in, which would be good, right? All right, let's have a quick look at any sort of headlines today. Let's again go on to Boxing Scene's website and see if we can pick out anything that we need to discuss very quickly. What's this one? Dillian White says, Andy Ruiz might be another Buster Douglas. Shine once and that's it. Possible, right? I mean, that's what people are comparing him to right now. I don't think he will be, personally. I think I've said this about Andy Ruiz so many times on this channel. I doubt that he will be another Buster Douglas. And I think that's even harsh from Buster Douglas. Buster Douglas beat up Tyson, you know what I mean? And it was a fantastic boxing clinic. I think people act like the Buster Douglas performance was like just one lucky punch. It wasn't. It was a beautiful boxing performance, right? He had to get up off the canvas as well, didn't he? So a bit harsh on Buster Douglas, but I do think that Andy Ruiz will come again. I think there are more names out there to fight now, right? They're quite, like, it might not be as deep in terms of quality, but there are at least 20 names out there you can fight where it's considered somewhat of a big-ish fight. Does that make any sense? Like if Andy Ruiz was to fight someone like, this is a bit random, but Daniel Dubois, right? Daniel Dubois is a guy for me that could enter the top 20. Same as Joe Joyce, right? Guys in and around the top 20. That's still considered quite a big fight. So there are names out there for him to kind of come back. Will he be world champion again? I mean, that's right. Who knows, right? You got Tyson Fury's only 30, what is he, 31? AJ's 30. I mean, there's some other good guys out there as well. So who knows? But I don't think he will be a fly in the pan. Is that the right term? Fly in the pan? I don't know if it is at all, to be honest. What's this? KUBRAT PULEV vows brutal beating for coward Anthony Joshua. Why is Anthony Joshua a coward of KUBRAT PULEV? Now, maybe I'm wrong, but they were scheduled to fight 2 years ago. Who pulled out? Yes, it might have been an injury, but who pulled out of that fight? It's not like AJ didn't want to fight you 2 years ago. And I think it would have been a better fight for KUBRAT PULEV. He was a bit younger. You could say that Anthony Joshua was still coming up, even though he was a world champion, right? There were still big question marks about AJ. There are question marks now. But, I mean, are they not going to fight? Has Anthony Joshua ducked this fight? Like, why is he a coward? And I just doubt that KUBRAT PULEV, I mean, he's talking the talk, isn't he? Yappy, yappy, yappy. I doubt that he's going to put a brutal beating on Anthony Joshua. I just think he's begun the sell. Look, you're going to get paid. Good luck to you. I don't think it's happening. What else have we got here? What's this? De La Hoya on Canelo. He's a friend, but it's business. That's it. I don't know if you would ask Canelo the same question. He would say De La Hoya is a friend. I don't think he likes De La Hoya whatsoever. I just think that he's in a contract right now with De La Hoya and Golden Boy that he can't necessarily get out of. Canelo doesn't necessarily need to be with Golden Boy, right? He can be doing his own thing, almost like what Floyd did towards the end of his career, right? Floyd literally was his own entity. Canelo can be that as well. I'm guessing that De La Hoya's just got him by the kahunas and he can't get out of that contract. That's what it is. What's this? Promoter admits millions were spent to restore Povetkin's name. How? What would you do there to restore it? Obviously, for those of you that don't know what he's talking about, obviously Povetkin's had his issues, what you should know, with drugs, PEDs, etc., etc. Yeah, your name was tarnished, but I mean, it's weird. His name was tarnished, yeah? Think about this. So we say millions to restore his reputation. His name was tarnished. He has come back, and this guy has had a fight with Anthony Joshua, made millions, right? Fact. Huey Fury, not millions, but definitely six figures. Michael Hunter, definitely six figures. Dillian White will be seven figures. I mean, that's it, right? Drug cheat. And I mean, look at that as an example of someone that has cheated and they should be banished from the sport, right? Or it's so tough to get back and you're never going to earn that kind of money again. You could make a valid argument that he has earned more money post-drug cheat than pre-drug cheat, right? You could, I mean, pre-getting caught. I mean, I know he made a lot of money for the Klitschko fight, no doubt. But I'm talking about just his other pays minus that. There's no doubt he's earning some good money. He's on pay-per-view shows. Next. Lubin, I want Tony Harrison. He's got 24 hours to answer me. It's a good fight, right? Good fight. Erickson Lubin, is that his name? Erickson Lubin, I believe it is. Tony Harrison. Good fight. I like that. 154. Two guys that are both top 7, top 8, 154 pounders. Lubin would look at it as though he's still on a bit of a rebuild after getting iced by Charlo. There was a lot of build up to that fight and he got iced. Jeez, I remember it. He's literally leg bent back. There was a lot of hype going into that fight, you know. So he's on a rebuild job, but I guess if he were to fight Tony Harrison and win, big ifs here, then he's not too far away from another title shot. He's not too far away at all. Sergio Martinez, Marcus Maidana have interest in fighting each other. What is going on? Obviously, Marcus Maidana, there was a little talk about him coming back. Well, a lot of talk, actually. About 2 years ago, and he was losing weight and losing weight. He just couldn't lose all the weight he needed to do. Right? I mean, I wanted Marcus Maidana to be one of those stories because I remember we saw him after and this guy was smoking cigars. He had a nice little belly. He was drinking some of the finest brandy in the world. And you thought, you know what? This is it. This is the life, right? You made great money from those 2 Mayweather fights. Great money. Set off into the sunset and go and enjoy your life. And all of a sudden, boxing just brings you back, doesn't it? Right? The money either dries up or you just miss the adrenaline a big boxing night gives you. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I guess boxing, unlike all the other top tier sports, there is no like OAP for boxing, right? Like, you know, you think of football, all the old football players get together and they meet up and they have those matches. You think of golf, you've got the seniors tour. You think of NBA, Ice Cube's got that 3-on-3 game now with when you get all the rivals coming back. Tennis has got a seniors tour. Boxing has none of that. And so there's no way to release that thing, right? No way. I saw this the other day. This is Frank Warren saying, Fury showed how beatable Wilder is. No problem with Dubois Wilder. Now, Frank Warren has basically come out and said that if Dubois gets past Joe Joyce and then has one other, he will fight Deontay Wilder. There is an element for me of crawl before you can walk and walk before you can run type scenario in my head here. Calm down a bit, eh? Daniel Dubois is just beating up Fujimoto, Latte, Tete. Then again, maybe he's not trying to convince me. I'm kind of in the middle between hardcore and casual. A casual guy might look at that and just see the knockouts of Dubois and think, oh, he's definitely ready for Wilder. He can knock him out. All right, next. All right, last couple of bits. What's this? Dominic Brazil says, Ruiz got lucky against Joshua. Should fight me before another title shot. He's just desperate, isn't he? He is desperate. He's been calling out everyone. I get it. Look, no shame in that, right? I get it. You want another big fight. You want that paycheck. But, I mean, you've got to get right to the back of the queue. Like, right. You've had 2 world title shots that some might say you didn't deserve. I don't think you deserved the Deontay Wilder one. You've been knocked out in both. I mean, just back to the start. I mean, he should fight someone like a Charles Martin who's on the ascendancy, right? Fight someone like that. A former world champion, former world title challenger, going at it. That's who. You shouldn't even be talking about guys in the top 10. I mean, he's called out Dillian White. He said he wants POVETKIN. He said he wants Ruiz. I get it. I get it. But no, Dominic Brazil, you don't jump the queue like that. You don't. Way back. Way back. All right, what's this? What's this? Anthony Joshua says, Tyson Fury has surprised me, but every fighter needs time to develop. I've got to actually click into that story. What does he mean by this? Okay, it's a bit of a dig here. Anthony Joshua said to Chris Mannix of DAZN, this is for the Sports Illustrated Boxing podcast, Tyson Fury's been professional now, like what, 11 years, going on 12 years. He needed so much time to develop, you know, and he's finally got to a stage where he's found out that straw of confidence. So congratulations to him. Is that a bit of a dig? Don't know. But he's right in that sense, right? I mean, Tyson Fury has taken a long time to become what we're seeing now. And what we're seeing now is a guy that a lot of people are comparing or putting up with the greats. So I guess everyone's development time is their own, right? I think we like to say, oh, this guy's been professional for 5 years, he should be doing this. This guy, 10 years, he should be doing that. Each to their own, right? Some people get there very quick, all right? Because they've had an extensive amateur background. Some people take a lot longer. So, yeah, I think that's it. I think that's it. All right, let's talk Anthony Joshua, Carl Froch. Now, if you don't know what I'm referring to, well, fingers crossed, hopefully you do. The Sun, yep, that newspaper. And I say The Sun, it wasn't The Sun, it was an individual that writes for The Sun, done his top 10 list. Now, sorry, his UK or British top 10 list. Now, some people might say, why, so what, right? I mean, why are we so interested in what The Sun writes? And I get that, but I think we're just human, right? If someone does their top 10 list, people want to have a look at it and pick bones out of it. Well, here is the top 10 list, as you can see. Number 1, Joe Calzaghe. 2, Lennox Lewis. 3, Fury. David Haye, number 4. I'm guessing this person is about 29. Ricky Hatton, number 5. Chris Eubank, they've done junior here, but obviously it's senior. Number 6, Prince Nassim Hamed, 7. Duke McKenzie. Okay, what was he, double or two-weight or three-weight world champion? Nigel Benn and Anthony Joshua. Number 10, first things first, what do you make of that top 10? This isn't a video about me trying to dissect this top 10. Obviously, this would not be my top 10. I tell you that now. No way on this earth am I having David Haye at number 4. You must be kidding me. I mean, did David Haye write this top 10 himself? Absolute nonsense, right? I mean, there are some fighters there that you wonder, should they be in the top 10? I mean, I'm not going to go back to the likes of Ken Buchanan, all those guys from the 60s and 70s and the early 80s. I have to be honest, my knowledge isn't that great, right? There are some that should be on here, though, no doubt. Anyway, that's not what the talking point is. The talking point is obviously about Carl Froch. Now, Carl Froch didn't make the top 10. He should be, no doubt, for me, in the top 10. And he had a dig at Anthony Joshua, right? I don't know if he's digged AJ, but I guess he's thinking, how can AJ be on there instead of me? Like, at least put me in number 10. Get rid of AJ. And what he said here is this. He said, not putting me in the top 10 is bad news. And I don't know how you can have AJ in the top 10. I'm not giving AJ stick, but he got knocked out by a little fat kid from Mexico. I've never been knocked out in my life, amateur or professional. AJ got beat up by a fat Mexican who we don't even know how good the Mexican is because he's not done anything really, and they've got him in the top 10. That's interesting. The question is, guys, and I put it to you, if you had one slot, who gets in, Froch or AJ? So we're not talking about removing anyone else from this top 10. I mean, I could, right? I'm not going to do that right now. But if you had one slot, whose resume or career to this point, obviously because AJ's still got, I think, 2 or 3 years left in his career, right, for some big fights. But if you were to stop AJ's career right now and compare it to Carl Froch's career, who would you have as the guy that should be in the top 10? Interesting. Let's have a quick look at, let's just remind ourselves. Let's go AJ box rec quickly. Not that I don't know it, but I want to bring it up so you guys can have a look as well. Let's have a quick look. Obviously, AJ is world champion right now, every belt minus a WBC. But let's have a look at it from, let's say, Dillian Whyte, right? So Dillian Whyte, Charles Martin, Dominic Breazeale, Molina, Vladimir Klitschko, Carlos Takam, Joseph Parker, Povetkin, lost to Ruiz, avenge that loss. That's a big thing, by the way, to avenge a defeat, right? Especially after getting embarrassed, right? You go and take the guy on straight away, straight after. A lot of people were saying you shouldn't do it. You do that, you get your belts back. That deserves kudos. That does. That's solid, by the way. That's solid. There's a lot of sort of B-rated fighters on there. There's a couple of, well, no, 1 A- and Vladimir Klitschko. I think the rest are B-rated as well. But that's solid, you know. I think a lot of people like to dig at AJ for not fighting Wilder or Fury. I get that. I dig at him as well. But look at that. That's a solid resume. Let's have a look at Carl Froch's. Carl Froch, box rec. All right, so the 2 losses, where should we start? Let's start from, where do we start from? Robin Reed, right? If I think it was fair if I started at Dillian Whyte. So you got Robin Reed, you got Rebecki, Yep. Jean Pascal, that's a solid win. That was an unbeaten Jean Pascal who was clearly strong. I think we've seen this with Jean Pascal going to light heavyweight. He was fast, he was powerful. That win was tough. That win was tough. What after we got after that? We got Jermaine Taylor losing pretty much most of the rounds, came back strong away from home to beat Jermaine Taylor. It wasn't the Jermaine Taylor anymore. We get that. Jermaine Taylor at the time had lost to Kenny Pavlik twice, but still solid Jermaine Taylor. And I think I like the way Carl Froch came back from that, got put down on his arse and came back and done the business with sort of seconds remaining. Andre Durrell, unbeaten Andre Durrell. Some people say he could have lost that fight, right? It could have gone either way. There was no clear-cut winner in that fight for me. But again, that was an unbeaten Andre Durrell. Then he lost to Mikkel Kessler away in Denmark. Still very much the Mikkel Kessler. That was a disappointing loss. I remember that fight. Arthur Abraham. What I like about Carl Froch, he rebounds straight away. Arthur Abraham, away from home, boxing clinic. Glenn Johnson, majority decision, but I actually thought Carl Froch won that quite, not comfortably. And then Andre Ward lost, right? That's the one. And he didn't really want that rematch again. There is zero shame in losing to a 2011 Andre Ward. Zero shame. That's Andre Ward prior to injuries. That's Andre Ward prior to that long time out of the ring. No shame in that whatsoever, right? I think the only thing is that he didn't ask for the rematch and try and get the fight in the UK, right? He didn't want it. He kept on saying that styles would not gel and it'd always be a tough fight for him. Regardless, you've still got to try and go for it if you can. Andre Ward at the time was the #1 super middleweight in the world. Carl Froch was #2. You got to go from it. What I like about that, though, again, lost to Andre Ward. You fight an unbeaten Lucien Boutte for the IBF. Favorite to lose that fight. Took the fight, destroyed him. Then Yusuf Mack. Does anyone know? Does anyone know, like, literally what happened to Yusuf Mack? Kind of crazy story after crazy story. Mikkel Kessler rematch. That's one of the losses. You got that one back. And then those 2 fights with George Groves. Again, the first fight, we saw what was happening, the problems, came back. I thought he was going to knock out George Groves. I think if that fight was to go on a couple more rounds, he's knocking out. That tide was 1 trillion% turning, right? Go and watch that fight. And then obviously Wembley Stadium, the punch from the gods. I personally think I like Carl Froch's resume better. I like it better. I really do. I think, again, at the time, you might consider these guys sort of up-and-coming guys, but I like the Jean Pascal win. I like the comeback against Jermaine Taylor. He's showing me different things here. Andre Durrell, who at the time was fast and tough fight, but regardless, away from home against Mikhail Kessler, the loss away. And then you bounce back and fight Arthur Abraham, who'd only lost once at the time, put on a boxing clinic. And then you have the Glenn Johnson fight. Andre Ward, no shame in that. The only shame is that he didn't ask for the rematch. But again, you responded by having a fight against Lucien Boutte, you know, the unbeaten Lucien Boutte. And then obviously win, Kessler, Yusuf Mack, George Groves. Yeah, for me, if there's one slot and I had to pick one, I'm going Carl Froch every day of the week for now. I think there is going to be a point in time where AJ might surpass that, right? If he fights an Usyk, if he fights a Fury, if he fights a Wilder, who knows? You know, you win against any of those guys, you might go in. But for me now, it's Carl Froch. Looking at the top 10 again, there's so many holes in that top 10. It's laughable, but we're not doing that now. We're not doing that at all. But what do you guys think? Who would you have in, AJ or Carl Froch? Again, I'm an AJ fan, right? So people always say, Ade, you're biased, you're biased. Well, clearly not. I've just picked Carl Froch. So I'm picking Carl Froch. What do you guys think? Let me know. Peace. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Also, please like and share the videos. It really does help the channel a lot. And if you want to support the channel, I do have a Patreon account. The link is in the description. All right, I'm done. Peace.